everyone. We have a guest today, my uncle Muhammad Osam. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Mohammed Osam. I'm a computer engineer, 1993 graduate. I've worked in multiple countries, right now in the US, in California, in the Silicon Valley.
Great. So let's get into it. This is a 16 gigabyte USB. And this is
360 kilobytes floppy disk, 5.25 inch.
how much is that equivalent to?
16 gig will do probably around 45,000 of those. 45,000 of those will make only this one.
So imagine here that there are stacks of these just to make this small flash drive. How did you used to use these things?
Yeah, I remember my first one, 1987, and we used to have games on like about 4 of those or 5 of those, and you know, you have to, in order to load the game, there was no such a thing as hard drive back then, and in order to load a game, you have to first insert this one out of 5. It loads into the computer, and then you insert 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, and so on. And the problem is, if the 4th diskette or the 5th diskette has a problem, you have to restart the entire process all over again. And it's a very painful process, and to load one game, it may take you like 5-6 minutes just to load one game out of those 360 kilobytes.
And that is proof that technology has improved the past few years. This is a 2 terabyte hard drive. And how many of these could be equivalent to this?
This is a 1.44 megabyte. And it used to be, actually, when they came out, it used to be 720 kilobytes, which is double the size of that. And that was an evolution by itself. But then what happened is that this, this is where it writes the data. And later on, they made this one as double-sided. You can write, or not, the floppy disk drive itself can write on both sides. And when that happened, the 720 became 1.44 megabyte capacity. But still, that was not enough even for large programs. I remember Microsoft Word used to come out on 10 of these, if I remember correctly, back in 1992 or something, or 93, if I remember correctly. Now, if you can imagine 2 terabytes and 1.44 megabytes, which means like one of these can make about 1.5 million out of these, right?
Wait, is this a keyboard that you could connect to your PC?
No, this is Sinclair Spectrum. This was actually my first computer. I got it in 1985. And this is an actual computer, everything inside. There's no such a thing as hard drive or any, a mouse. The mouse was not invented back then. And hard drives, there is no such a thing as hard drive. What you do, you connect this port into the TV, and this is the mic and ear, which they connect to a cassette player, and that's a conversation for another day. And this is what they call the extension pack, which, if you have any peripherals like printers or whatnot, you can connect it here, and this is where the power comes from. And so this is basically your CPU, and it works as Z80, the Zilog 80. This is the microprocessor that it's inside, which is equivalent now to Intel, right? So, yeah, this is a computer, Sinclair Spectrum. I don't think they make them anymore. 1985, I got it, yep.
And is this normal computer? Is it like this one?
Oh, no, not even close. So this is a laptop, right? I don't know, maybe it's an Intel, which generation, I don't know, i7 or whatever. This not even, I don't know how to compare them, to be honest. It's not even close to 1% or even a fraction of 1% of the power of this one, right? This is like a super computer that, like, you can, the most advanced computer compared to this one. This is like, well, if this is a PC today, this probably like 1 billion supercomputers compared to this one. So this is extremely slow. This has nothing at all. Like, for example, one part of the comparison, to be honest, I can't even compare them, but the memory of this thing is 48 kilobytes. 48 kilobytes. This one is 16 gig, right? So you can imagine, I don't know how many, like 1 million more memory than this one, right? So you can't even compare. You can't.
And that's from when?
1985.
So imagine.
And this is only, you can only write BASIC. Like, there is the BASIC language, computer programming language. You can't write anything else on this one. You can't write C, you can't write any other language. There's another language that I used to write on this one called Forth, F-O-R-T-H. I don't know if anyone knows what Forth is nowadays, right?
Which operating system does the Sinclair have?
It's the Zilog Sinclair operating system. It has no operating system. Actually, once you put it up, it brings you the basic prompt, which is the basic language prompt. If you want to load anything, any program, as I said, or save any program, as I said, you have to connect it to a cassette player. You can Google what cassette player is, but it's not Windows or anything of that sort. This one runs Windows, and I think it's what, Windows 10 from what I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Windows 10. But talking about operating systems, you know, this is Windows 98, which came out like 1998. Before that, there was Windows 19, or they call it Windows 95. Before Windows 95, there was DOS operating system. And there were like 2 generations of DOS. One came out from Microsoft, and another one came from IBM. IBM DOS was introduced first, and then Microsoft DOS was introduced later. And that's, from what I recall, 1986 or something. Yeah.
So this operating system right here, which is Windows 11, is close to Windows 98?
No. Windows 98 actually was a empowered version of DOS. It has the Windows operating system running on top of DOS operating system, and what they call the multi-threading was just starting back then. So it wasn't real multi-threading. So you can run a single program at a single time. You can't run multiple programs at a time. You can think they are running at the same time, but there was time division between each program and the other.
So running. I can't multitask.
You kind of can on Windows 98, but it's not advanced as the one that you have today in Windows 10, Windows 11, and so on. It's a completely different world. Yeah, I'm an old guy. You know. Yeah, and by the way, there was 3.11, and there was the revised version as well. There were 2 revised versions, but there was 3.11. The way it works is that first you boot up with DOS, and once it boots up with DOS, you write Win, W-I-N, on the prompt, and then it starts the Windows. So it's an operating system within an operating system. And 95 was a revolution, because once you boot up the PC, it will start with 95. Well, it automatically starts DOS a little bit, then automatically jumps into 95. But 98 was the one that, okay, you don't see any DOS prompt. It starts from scratch, right? So, yeah, XP later, and there was some bad Windows versions like ME, or I can't remember. Yeah, ME was very, very, very bad, and the Vista thing was another disaster. But then came Windows 7, which was Windows 2000, Windows 7, Windows 10, and Windows 11. Yeah.
And now you know about those.